And that's the story of You Don't Know Jack.
That was, I couldn't think of a better telling of that.
Yeah,
it's
good.
I think about it sometimes, but Harry, you're a master storyteller.
Yeah, well, anyway.
Great story.
Great being here with you guys.
All right, sorry we crashed. We crashed like 5 minutes in, but we're back. So before we jump into playing the game, what's a little bit of like how did the game get started? Like we'll probably do our own Twitch stream at some point where we actually talk about That's a Fact Jack and stuff that came before You Don't Know Jack. But specifically, like, what was the segue into making You Don't Know Jack?
So just jump right into the You Don't Know Jack story.
Yeah.
When I was born, it was a friend at Berkeley Systems who was Allard's boss. Saw a game, an educational game we were working on, and said, "Can't you?" Which is very much like You Don't Know Jack, and said, "Can't you make something for adult entertainment?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "No, not like that. Retail, like a trivia game for adults." And it ended up that my brother Tom, who plays Cookie, and I were living together, and we just started brainstorming. And the question came off was, what if you, in order to answer a single trivia question, what if you needed to know something about both Shakespeare and the Brady Bunch to answer the same question? And not that there's ever been a question written that actually has done that. Like, we've never in fact done that.
There's definitely like Shakespeare and Scooby-Doo.
There's Shakespeare and Scooby-Doo, but not the Brady Bunch. We never. That was the impossible dream. But that idea of high culture and pop culture colliding came together, and one of the first questions that I think really epitomized this was a question that Tom wrote, which is a dis or dat question.
Yeah.
Because dis or dats didn't come out in version 1 because we didn't have time to finish them, but a lot of those questions were written and the types were done, and it was the category was breakfast cereal and biology. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I don't know if I do.
Breakfast cereal and biology, and
Yes.
So I'm going to give you 7 breakfast cereals.
Okay.
And you tell me if the mascot on the box is a mammal or not a mammal.
This is good.
So you needed to know the breakfast cereal. So ready?
Yeah. Okay.
Cornflakes.
Not a mammal.
Frosted Flakes.
Mammal.
Blueberry.
Once a mammal, now not a mammal.
It's technically not a mammal because ghosts do not have milk producing mammary
That's
glands.
true. That's true.
But it was like
I saw a movie.
Was it
Rice Krispies.
Rice? No, that's a bad one. Because it's like, what are they?
Yeah.
No, are they
Cheerios would be not a mammal, right?
Rice Krispies, they're mammals. They're like little.
Well, they're elves though.
Elvins. They're not really. They're not
I'm
really
assuming
mammals.
that they wear pants for a reason.
What is the one with? There's the Fruit Loops.
Toucan Sam. Yeah,
not a mammal. So anyway, but it was like, hey, you've got to actually kind of have both these ideas in your head at the same time in order to answer one question, which was called like a double twist.
Yeah.
And pretty quickly, Steve-O actually tells the story about this. Is like they started unwrapping it, so there weren't two. You didn't actually need to remember 2 things at the same time, but that was sort of like the overall idea. So then it just have to be like put trivia questions in the context of some weird, mass media reference in order to answer the question.
I think my favorite, like, kind of perfectly twisted question that I remember from playing the game, so like in '95 when the first game came out, I was in college. And I definitely played, I don't know if I played the first one, but I definitely played starting around the time of the second and third game. And I always remember as well as also a breakfast cereal one, which breakfast cereal mascot is closest to the Greek character, mythological character Sisyphus? Is it Toucan Sam, Tony the Tiger, the Trix Rabbit, or the Rice Krispie elves?
Trix Rabbit.
It is a Trix Rabbit because Sisyphus could never get the thing that he wanted. Could never get the boulder up the mountain, and the Trix Rabbit could never get the Trix.
Silly Rabbit.
Silly Rabbit. Yeah, which you needed to know the myth of Sisyphus, and you needed to know
God,
the Tricks Rabbit.
Our writing was so much better back then.
I know.
What happened?
I know.
Back in the day, you know what's interesting? So Volume 1, it was a very small group of people who wrote Volume 1. It was like 4 people, 5 people.
And those people
they cranked it out because they never had to worry about any previous questions.
Yeah,
like there's no worry of like.
But the research also must have been so much harder without the internet.
There's books. Everything was double sourced, I believe.
Yeah, there's a lot of photocopying of books.
Yeah.
And no, it's not. There was an internet. It was only 2 years old though.
Yeah.
Like 1993.
Yeah, it was
like somebody said, Filth Dream Today wrote, and I love the holiday shout outs. I'd play in holidays just to hear the game mentioned. That was also like one of my favorite things to put into the game.
Yeah.
Because at the time it had never been done. It still doesn't seem like it's done very much. At the time it had never been done, and I just remember hearing stories of people just like being completely blown away,
I always loved, like, it went so far into making you feel like you were talking to a real human being. Like, there was someone there that had an awareness of what was going on in the moment, like, would remember things that you would never expect a game to remember, to comment on things you wouldn't expect a game to comment on.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff still holds up.
I mean, people still get a kick out of Siri, making comments.
Yeah.
It's like that Ghost in the Machine thing that people want to believe it, want to suspend their disbelief. And I think this game kind of did it first.
Yeah, it was. It's fun for computers to like seem like they're people.
Although I do remember, because I worked at Berkeley Systems and we made screensavers, and people were amazed when they saw fireworks on the computers. They were like, "Oh my gosh, look!
I do remember how
it's got fireworks on it."
I do remember how excited I was by screensavers. Like, for Christmas, I would ask for more After Dark screensavers, like the toasters and all that stuff. That was Berkeley Systems, right?
Yeah, Berkeley Systems, who is our publisher for Unicorn Jack.
So we're going to jump in and play the game in just a minute. And we'll probably pause as we go and sort of talk about stuff while we play. But I also want to let people know we're going to make some announcements about a new Ydkj that's coming soon. So all the more reason to stick with us if you're not enjoying stories, but I'm sure you will.
Oh, this is a good one. Seventh Dementia. I do want to hear the story of how the secret gibberish response got added to the game. Do you mean the naughty one?
Is that in the first game?
Seventh Dementia, that's in the first game.
It's the first game.
Seventh Dimension, you mean the naughty one?
We didn't bleep it out back then either.
We could even do it. Should we?
Yeah, that's it. Several times. Yeah, we can do it.
All right,
so we won't give it away. We'll tell you the story after we've played it.
Yeah, let's... I got more than one mouse here that I'm dealing with.
How did you come up with the commercials? We just did. We're like, what can we put over the credits? So like, well, it's the end of a TV show. Let's have commercials.
I need names, please.
So, as always, let us know in the chat how the balance is between the volume of the game and the volume of us here.
Hello, people. How you doing? My name's Cookie. Welcome to our show here. How many people are going to be playing the game?
Why, you got a hangnail? Is it bleeding?
Very good. Player one, why don't you tell us about yourself, starting with typing in your name.
Ain't no jive, it's Western.
Okay, player two, how about you?
This is something we did, which was to not answer and see what Cookie does.
Player two, did you leave your brain in the car? Type your name in.
This was like in 1995. It just blew people away.
Yeah.
Ah, thanks. Player three, what is your name?
I guess I should have put
Candy
Harry.
Grab player three, what's your freaking name in?
My company, I'm QA.
Yeah, I know. It looks a little blurry.
One other thing. Are you looking for a 7-question tournament game or more like a full 21-question game?
Short game.
Yeah, let's do a short one.
Okay, got it. 30 seconds. Player one, your buzzer is the letter Q as in quart of skim milk. Player two, you buzz in on the letter B as in boredom. And player three, you have the letter P as in proctology.
And I was talking to Tom recently about him saying, like, how Cookie was so much different at the beginning. Like, he definitely has a little more of a accent that's different.
Yeah, I know he's different. This guy's don't type in the name. It's true. Maybe if we have time, we'll go through it again.
Yeah.
Not type in the name. So you see what he
Then
does.
hit a 1, 2, 3, or 4 to pick an answer. Are you with me?
Jesus Christ Pope says, if you guys could maybe stream yourselves playing Five Nights at Freddy's, that'd be great. I think we've got a bunch of stuff going on with our own games right now, but maybe we'll definitely play some other games down the road. I'd love to play.
Yeah, no, that's a fun game.
Yeah.
Why do you guys remove the Berkeley Systems logo?
From
Because
this-
they've been out of business for 10 years.
And also,
we don't have the right to use it.
we don't have the right to use Berkeley Systems as a logo. They got bought by Sierra, they're sending.
Seventh Dementia says, actually, if I remember correctly, the XL version of Volume 1 doesn't have the profane version of the speech, so we'll see. I think we are playing the XL
We
version.
are playing this already.
That's better. Pleasure to have you on the show. Let's get the ball
That's
rolling.
Harry.
Yeah, not to stop pretty much immediately, but Harry, that's you as
The Blob.
Nate Shapiro, the first host of You Don't Know
Yes.
Jack.
And also the blobby being splat.
Yes. Yeah,
Can you do your impression of the Blob Splat now?
without sound effecting? Wow!
You were only hosted one game. I mean, you came back for the ride, right?
I hosted the one game and then did some extra questions for XL. And then the ride. And
Yeah.
that was it. No, that was enough for me. You know, there are certain people who want to sit in a small booth and talk to themselves for hours on end, and I'm not one of those people. But I did it because we needed somebody to do it. But
We actually tried to. I have a cassette tape somewhere in my life, which has all of the alternates that you tried to replace yourself
Yes.
with unsuccessfully, because Igor and I and West Boyd and all the other stakeholders
right.
listened to them in the car over and over again, trying to find that Harry replacement, and we just came to the conclusion that it had to be Harry, in the end.
This is the problem, is that I put what Al was referring to is I put myself on the original demo
Yeah.
that I took out to San Francisco to show around to people to try to sell the game, and with no intention whatsoever of being the host, because I was planning on being the director, which was a full-time job.
Yeah.
But it's a problem, because if that's now I know, like if you cast somebody and you're like, oh, let's throw somebody in there, people are gonna lock into that person, and that's gonna be their conception of what the game is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So.
How many hours, for the first game, how much time did you spend in the booth, would you say?
It's amazing. Who knows? Chuck Norris knows Jack. Yeah, he knows. I have an interaction with Chuck Norris.
Wait, we can't not. Is there
There's
a
so
Chuck
much going
Norris
on
story? There is.
There isn't. It's not exactly You Don't Know Jack story. There may be a Chuck Norris You Don't Know Jack story that I don't know about. But I separately videotaped Chuck Norris when I was in college for this crazy video that I did. But okay.
And we'll show that on next week's stream. Although City of Stat asks, what made you decide to come up with the persona of Nate Shapiro? Was there any process of becoming?
Yes,
Who is
actually,
Nate Shapiro?
There was. Well, so whatever. Nathan is my middle name. Shapiro is my grandmother's maiden name, so that's where the name comes from. And then
And now you know all of Harry's passwords.
Fortunately, that's not true. The persona was, I don't know, I was trying to find a way to, I don't know, just do some kind of a game show voice. It actually started off with doing an imitation of Jack Nicholson.
Uh-huh.
So I'd be in the booth, all right, time for your game.
Yeah, I see that now.
You know what I mean? Player one, what's your problem? And then suddenly that went into player one, what's your problem? Just my voice got a little higher or something. But that was my way into it. And I actually recorded a whole bunch of questions and then threw them out because they kind of sounded weird, and eventually kind of found the voice.
Yeah.
So
let's play a little bit more,
Yeah.
and then we'll chat some more.
there's so many great.
There are great.
We will come back to the questions.
We will definitely.
Because there's a lot of great questions.
Why am I suddenly from this angle? It's so hard to understand a QWERTY
Okay,
keyboard.
first off, we gotta give you your screws. So here you go, giving all three of you one screw each for round one. All right, hey audience, what do you do when your neighbor doesn't know the answer to a question? You got it. Screw 'em. Buzz in and hit the S key. It forces your opponent to answer that question. You got it? Okay, my little pebbles. It's time to rock. Player 3, select a category.
Ooh, that's me.
Next up, cool guys with silly names. Right here, $1,000 for a right answer. And for the life of me, I cannot remember. Who is this guy? You know, he was the streetwise informer friend on the 1970s cop show that was named for the two main characters who rode around in that cool red car with the white stripe. What is his name? Was it Huggy Bear, Dobie, Angel Martin?
This is just the kind of pop culture that the people on Twitch today
Wasn't it?
eat up.
Huggy Bear, right?
I don't know. I don't even know this one.
Oh, yeah, you had lockout.
Yeah, and Huggy was so popular with younger viewers, he got a...
Be honest in the chat, how many of you knew the answer to that? Anybody?
Category, player 2, let's do it.
It's question number 2.
This one's gonna be the life and times of Snack Cake. This question's gonna be worth $2,001 bills. Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff. According to the Hostess consumer line, how long can unfrozen Twinkies actually stay fresh? Go for it, player.
First of all, I should actually answer this question, right?
Just 15 days.
That
Oh, you know
seems-
what? I'm sure there was a comment after that we took out because that's so like 15 days. I'm sure there's something like right.
The only reason I know that is the answer is because I was playing yesterday just to kind of refresh my memory of the game, and I got that question. It's what's funny about that question to me is it's so counterintuitive. You would assume that Twinkie is fresh so much longer than 15 days,
And it is.
and it is. I also love that in the question it says according to the Hostess consumer line or whatever. Like that, I feel like that's
a key part of
That's
it.
a key part of it, but also I feel like it's a real insight into the process of coming up with questions, because I feel like you probably had to do a lot more of just calling places and getting information as opposed to looking them up.
Oh yeah. In fact, we double sourced everything because we were actually really very concerned about accuracy. And anything that was taken over the internet, now I'm remembering, anything that was taken over the internet, if one of your sources was over the internet, you needed a second one. Like you needed a third source.
Yes, third source.
Like you needed 3 sources.
Spadicus21 asks, does hearing the questions bring back bad memories of being back memories? That doesn't make any sense. How does it feel to hear yourself almost 20 years later?
20 years later. It's actually, I'm just, because I haven't played the game in a really long time. It's weird. It was so much has happened since then.
Yeah.
It was so small, and this was sort of the very, very beginning of 2 decades of stuff happening. Lots and lots and lots of stuff happening. And this was like, I'm like, oh, and it was this game, this one window of time in 1995 for the first 9 months of that year that led to everything that has happened since for, a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
And so it's actually kind of like humbling in a way. No.
Our screen's gone
I
blank.
think.
Oh, we're
Oh,
live.
no, I just had to make sure to. Andy in the chat, who is Krabby Dad, who is one of the first writers of the game, does most of the music. I don't know if he did the music in the first game.
Tom called Hostess to get that answer.
Tom, the voice of Cookie, called Hostess, and he wrote that question. Let's see here. Let's keep going. Let's keep playing. Why is it not letting me? All right.
Player 1, it's up to you. What are we doing?
Oh, that's me.
It's question number 3.
The category is, look, there's Uranus. And we are talking $1,000 for this question. Okay, we're coming at you. Heads up. What is a black hole? A term for all Disney movies from the 70s?
We didn't
a
have
dead planet, a
anti-aliasing
hole in
back
space
then.
that has no gravity, or a
That only
collapsed star
happened
that only
until,
emits X-rays?
version 3.
I kind of don't get the joke of this question.
Go for it, player 2.
Don't be too picky.
You gotta write a lot of questions to spell a game. I know that better than anybody.
Hello, anybody there? Player 3, take it. Collapsed stars so dense that only X-rays can
It's weird
see
that the
through
joke
them.
answer is first. That seems kind of counterintuitive to me. Like, you would have the real answers, and then the joke answer would be
I'm
that.
trying to remember. No, we didn't.
Player 3,
What was
pick a
circumcision?
category for me. Uh-oh, best butts fits my
Oh,
more.
Very. This question type is beloved by many, hated by just as many.
I remember.
This gibberish questions category is
I remember doing that morph
circumcision
animation.
and souvenirs. Opening value
It's
on
so
this gibberish
high-tech.
question,
Okay, so now we're gonna let it. We'll buzz
Okay,
in.
to solve this puzzle,
Okay.
you gotta think
Oh,
fast because every
okay.
second and a half I'm
Are we
ticking
gonna go
off
all
a
the way
little
and
bit of
actually let that
cash.
game
With what
die?
t-shirt slogan does this rhyme?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, we can always start another one. I
Buzz
mean,
press Aussie me hurt. And don't let the punctuation or the German fool you here.
What is the answer?
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Was Chris Alcee me hurt?
Your parents went somewhere.
Was Chris Alcee me hurt? Was Chris Alcee me hurt?
And your parents...
Well, anyway,
Say
this
it
is
faster, something.
this is
and all I got was a stupid shirt or something like that.
yeah.
Was this shirt?
All right. So this is
Go for it. Type
okay.
it
This is
in
what
and hit
people
return.
do.
Are you talking to me? On my show? I don't think so. Why don't you take a good look at your score? And next time, maybe you'll think twice before you flip me off.
Yeah. So
You know, I thought that would
oh wait a second.
make me feel better, but I'm still pissed off. I don't think that punishment was adequate. Okay, now that we've dispensed with the pleasantries, let's get back to the game.
Yeah. So
Okay, how about a real player?
So now if one of us does it,
So what originally it said is take a good look at your score. Fuck me? No, fuck you. And I think I don't know why. I don't know. We somehow like somewhere between the original version, which has it, and XL, which obviously doesn't.
Right.
Like
The
somebody got
marketing
timid
call.
or something
yeah,
or whatever.
which is weird because I was playing yesterday and it definitely says shit unbleeped in this version of the game.
Yeah.
And it's also like why would you be upset for the game saying fuck only in response to someone having typed in fuck?
Right.
Like you have, I feel like you've entered a contract with the game if you have typed in fuck.
Right.
It's like I'm cool with hearing that word.
Right.
I just typed it out.
There was for sure, like I've heard these like anecdotal stories of like when people typed in "fuck you" and then that came back. And in 1995, where computer games were basically new anyway.
Yeah.
Then, and people
There was no
just
rating.
saying like I had no idea what like that just completely blew me away. That's why we put them in because they were so fun. I think it was actually an engineer's idea because I remember one of the engineers at Berkeley. Telling me a story of like I was getting so aggravated, so I just typed in "fuck you," and I'm like, what if the host responded? Like I think other people will type in "fuck you." Let's have a response to that. So that was.
We do
that
spend
was
a
ton
lot
fun.
of time here, like thinking of things that people are going to do, and sometimes they're quite rare.
Right.
And still spending a lot of time.
But the thing is, you think about when you're doing it, and it's tough with like scope and like but you think like for the person who does this,
Yeah.
this is going to be amazing.
Yeah,
And so you like that's what inspires you to want to do it.
Yeah.
Luckily, because there's just requires audio.
Yeah.
It doesn't require graphics or anything like that. Or special engineering.
Yeah.
It's always worth doing.
All right, let's go back to the
All
game.
right, so now this will
Do we want to go all the way down the road?
Go ahead.
With this? All right. So I'll go next.
It's player one. See what you got. Type it in and hit
Does it
return.
matter if I do a variation or like how smart is
I don't
the? I'm not gonna test it out, but
Okay, here we go. Just
They're
keep
saying that
flipping
it
off
doesn't
the
happen on the
host and see
Facebook
what the
version.
guy says next. Fine. I'd like you to pay close attention to your score. See what I did? That's right. I didn't do anything. Because flipping me off isn't original anymore. Now then, since this is the last time I'm going to be indulging in this behavior, next time when you buzz in, let's see if you can actually answer the question. All right, let's get back to the game. Now, I figure one of two things is going on here. Either your parents never went on vacation,
oh
or
wait,
they
why did it go?
Oh,
through?
yeah,
ran out of time.
we ran out of
We ran
time.
out of time.
and ball mine guy
Gotta buzz in
was
quick, Alex.
Aussie
Sorry,
Mirror.
you're right.
Oh my God, Buzz brought
So, what's your report? Your parents are great big cheapskates.
Would it be crazy on the next one for me to turn down the volume in the game and Harry, for you to read the question?
Sure, I'll do it.
All right, let's. Someone's got to. Harry, you got to pick something up. Oh, I guess I got it.
All right, here's the question. I'll have a glass of mucus, please. $3,000 for this one.
I hope.
Oh no, it's one of those questions with a big lead.
Yeah.
This is not going to work.
So anyone?
Which of the following products doesn't exist? Kraft, toilet paper from Sweden, Trim Packer, pants from Japan, Shit, soft drink from France, or Scroties, candy from Ghana?
Oh.
Player 3. I don't know. Which one doesn't exist? I think it might be, it's got to be Scroties. That can't be right. Yes. Like, how could you possibly have something called Scroties?
You're making a dent in that.
All right, now, for the next one, Allard, you do Harry's voice.
Oh, God, no.
You do the next
I cannot do that.
All right, I'll do it. I'll do the next one, just for the hell of it. I'm sure I'll be awful.
I'm too busy looking at the design
It's
of the
question 6. This one, the Fats of Life. Natalie and Tootie from the Fats of Life have decided to become famous professional boxers. If they each bulk up to 176 pounds, what professional weight class will they fight in? Heavyweight, welterweight, lightweight, or middleweight? Go ahead and buzz in. That was a horrible...
Sounded like Arnie.
It did.
It did.
Arnie with
This is why I don't host any of the games. All right, I can turn the volume up on this.
I do not know the answer to my own question. No, that is true.
I will not. I don't know the answer to the questions that I've written this year. Like, I don't remember. I remember. They leave your head pretty quickly. They kind of have to. I feel like.
Let's see. I like this one.
All right, turn the volume back up.
Yeah, I'll turn it up a little bit. Are we heading to the
Jack Attack. There's a great story about this, actually.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll tell you the story.
So
that opening there. So when you've only got 8 megabytes of RAM, which is very little space, very little memory, and so you load up the graphics, and there was some way where we were able to kind of stream the audio pretty much like off the CD, but the graphics had to be kind of loaded into RAM.
Yeah.
And so we were going to Jack Attack, which needed a totally new set of graphics, and so they've got to pull and dump out the
2x CD.
Yeah, they got to dump the graphics out of RAM and then stream this whole new set of graphics off of the CD in order to get ready for the Jack Attack. And so they were like, okay, so Harry, what kind of a weight cursor should we make here? And I'm like, there are no weight cursors in this world. They're like, what do you mean there's no weight cursors? Like, of course there's, because really, like all the games, even the kind of like driving games and all that other stuff, they all had weight cursors. They all did.
Right.
And I'm like, you can't have a weight
still
cursor.
do. Like there's a lot of games
like
where
little
you're just
stuff.
like waiting for like game to load up and whatnot.
Yeah, it was always like, I'm like we can't do it. Like it'll completely ruin the illusion.
Yeah. And
that we're like you're in a game show. And so fortunately we had this really, really awesome engineer named Tom Woodkey, who's like kind of super brainiac genius. And he's like, okay, and because I think the load time was like something like 7 seconds. I'm like, that's an impossibly long period of time. And he said, okay, I'll work on it. And he somehow magically got it down to like 4 seconds.
Uh-huh.
He's like, there's nothing else. Like I can't change the physics of the CD-ROM drive, any more than that. And so then we were like, okay, so we've got to basically, cover load for 4 seconds.
Yeah.
But we could have audio. And so we said, okay, well, let's do this audio where it's possible to have the screen be black for some period of time. And so it was like, first you press the button and it freezes the screen and you hear this audio, and then there's just like a big rip to black, which is very low graphically, super cheap graphically, and then there's just like sound of wind coming, and then right when like that 4 seconds was up, the graphic comes in and explodes. And you're into the Jack attack, and so that limitation that we had of like we've got to cover 4 seconds was the genesis of the entire opening to the Jack attack, which became like completely iconic.
And which we still do, which hasn't changed all that much.
Right. Not really, no. Like we still take that time to kind of feel like, you know, shit's going down.
Yeah, that ominous building.
Hold on to your seat. I remember our discussion, like talking about
how to do that.
How to do Jack attack.
Well, so yeah, the Jack attack idea was really, we went on a long walk, and Allard was like, "You need an ending for this." I'm like, "Yeah, we need an ending." And he's like something snappy, something fast, like kind of fast paced, and like it was really on this walk where we developed the idea for the Jack attack. And but I actually had not actually thought. It never occurred to me that it needed an ending. I'm just like, you know, you run out, you 7 questions and you're done. He's like, "No, we need a big." But now, you know, on game shows, like the final round, I'm like, yeah, the final round, that's a good idea.
I wanted it to be kind of orgasmic. Like I felt like it should be like, you know, the final throes of sex.
Sure.
And
most of your ideas are sort of genital related, I feel like.
Yes. In fact, there's a whole, you know, that blobby thing.
Yeah.
I had storyboarded out and had actually contracted an animator to have that blobby chased by screws, as if they were trying to impregnate the screw.
Are you impregnated blobby like sperm?
The blobby,
like sperm
like the sperm getting to, like, so there was this whole like, you know, segue thing that I wanted to like sprinkle out through the whole game, and then at a certain point I was like, no.
Yeah,
this is
too much.
This is really stupid.
This was a good idea last night at 3 a.m.
Exactly. So
just to underscore how different graphically things have changed, I'm going to real quick do a peek at one of the segues from the game that hasn't come out yet, from the next You Don't Know Jack. So this will only take a second, but this is just to see, like, think of the number of segues we've been seeing and the graphics in that, and now take a look at a segue for one that's coming up later this year. So
do it again.
All right, let's do it again. Yeah, it's so fast.
I love that.
I gotta.
It's done by Tim Sniffen.
Yeah. All those cues in the background. That's crazy. All right.
It's so quaint, but it was. Oh God, you know, I just remember, you know, recording those. The songs, the question segues, and having people come into Jellyvision and go into the studio, and oh my God, it was really fun. It was really fun. Like, just inventing this game was such a good time. I mean, we didn't sleep much, but while we were awake, it was like
my dog forgot who I was. My wife was about to leave me. It was an intense period of time. And then I went to Disney.
And then we're not going to even talk about that. We're not even going to talk about
that. Well, let's get back. Let's play the Jack attack.
Time for the attack. Buzz in when 2 words match.
See, we still do the whole. I mean, the graphics have updated, but it's not so different.
And don't forget.
Hey, you know, it ain't broke.
It's not any old match we're looking for. It's the one that fits this clue. You won't beat our meat. Yeah, let your imagination flow. Because here we go. Begin the attack.
What is that? What is that? Oh,
all right.
I got it.
Oh,
damn it. Wait for sauerkraut.
It's meat, though. You gotta remember the clue.
I know.
Why am I so competitive? Oh, that was it.
I got it.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking of it with chicken.
Rachel.
It's a 90s dish.
That must be some.
Someone asked
incredibly clever reference.
Who voiced "Remember the Clue"?
That was me too.
Was that you? Big distance.
Whoa!
I just guessed.
Okay.
Player one, you steamrolled the other players, but the big question, what's your final score? Player one's
Bernie.
got it.
Wow.
Okay. I was
Player
let it
one's
finish.
victory is like a Christmas fruitcake. No one really cares about it, but they appreciate the effort just the same. And let me show my appreciation by saying, you don't know Jack.
Is that what? It doesn't hold on the internet,
Wait,
Jack?
wait.
That's a bug. That's a
Cookie,
bug.
what's the time
You know, I think
frame?
I wonder if it's like the speed of the processor or something.
Yeah.
Players,
So,
if you wanna
okay,
play
so
another game,
I can
you
tell.
just gotta
There's a
call
funny
in.
story about the Jack Attack ending as well.
Traveling in Peru with my wife. I got cholera, which
So
resulted in
there were so
severe
many
injury.
versions,
How much?
and I spec this out. Of course, it was like completely overly complicated. So it's like, okay, you have this series of things that take place, and it's like, okay, what happens? All right, so here's this one. It was like, player one, you like rock that Jack Attack because like we didn't do anything particular.
Right.
So if Allard had just like bombed out the whole time, it would have been like, player three, what the hell are you doing? And if it was like, if I was leading all the way until the end, but then you scooped me in the very beginning,
Yeah.
it's like, it would say something like, player two, you're away, I had away, then it was like, player one, you came on strong, and there's just like, and then of course you have to do every one of those ideas for each like possible variation.
Yeah.
So there was, I think there was probably 200 or 300 of them, and then of course, I never wanted anybody to hear like the same thing twice, so I did several versions for each one of those slots.
This is
And I just remember like, writing them. I don't know if I wrote that. No, I was already the host, but I was just like, as I was actually recording it, I'm like, what was I thinking? Like I'm in here like killing myself recording all these different variations. Thinking this is too much. But when you get one of these ones that's like really specific and you hear it, it's like it's so fun. It's fun to hear this kind of like crazy like hyper awareness of what just took place.
Yep.
There's a bunch of oh my god, all the old timers. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
A lot.
A lot of these people are still
Gil
around
Stein.
in some capacity.
Oh yeah.
I noticed somewhere in here when I was watching it before, one of the writers was Brian McCann. Is that the same Brian McCann that wrote for Conan for pretty much the entire run of? Because he's from Chicago. He's a Chicago improv guy.
Probably.
It's very possible. A lot of sort of comedy luminaries sort of
That's
had
fabulous.
short to long
Stints with
stints.
Internet
Yeah. Let's quick look at some of the questions in the thread.
Question 4 is dead.
Someone's asking, will the new game have a question that cares? I think all we can say is that
Well,
the 4 is a very important segue for us, and the saga of 4 continues in some form.
in a
way. It's not like literally continuing, but if you're looking, you'll definitely.
We didn't really want to try and compete with that the saga of 4.
Yeah. Can we get Old Man on a future stream?
I'm sure you
Yes,
can.
I am.
Old Man still works.
Old
here.
man's writing in that chat window right now.
Yeah, and Old Man is in the new game, definitely.
There's some good questions in the very beginning.
Should I see? It's hard to sometimes scroll up. Fiber optic field trip. What was the impetus for that? That was not in the first game.
That was
right?
No, the Fiber Optic was the first game. That was in. That was what was the impetus? I think because we just thought it would be funny. I think the
and it was what you would call celebrities, right?
No, that was called the Celebrity Collect Call.
I see.
The Fiber Optic Field Trip was in the very first one, and the idea for that was it was just like kind of to vary up the gameplay. That the host would like kind of randomly call somebody up, and then kind of it was a setup in the first half of the game.
Yeah.
And then in the second half of the game, that person would have like quote unquote made up their own question.
Yeah.
And then they get to read the question, but it wasn't like, I mean, the questions were fine. They were sort of funny, but it was really more just sort of like you're going along playing this game for 20 games, and suddenly it's like, okay, hey, we're going up, and people are like, whoa, it's completely new.
We only had really 2 different game types mechanically, like in the first version.
There's a
Because
gibberish
did-
question,
and-
Jack attack, main
Right.
question type.
But there was no
five round.
dis or dat didn't show up
Didn't
until
make-
volume 2,
yeah, didn't
even though
make
we
it
had
in.
it prototyped earlier on. But
Mike Builder, who's watching from home, asks, "Hey, let's see the original TV pilot for the You Don't Know Jack TV game show."
Hey, let's not.
Now, you shot a version of the You Don't Know Jack TV pilot with you as the host, is that
So
correct?
the office for that television show was in this building that we are now in, but 20 years ago, 19 years ago, and it was with Warner Brothers, and so like right after the game came out, they approached us, Time Warner, so at WTTW in Chicago, we shot a pilot for a television version of You Don't Know Jack, and once again we looked at 8 million hosts, didn't like anybody, ended up posting it, and number one is like I should never be on TV. Number two, not even now, and number two, it's funny when a computer insults you. It's not funny watching somebody live on television insulting somebody else in a game show. It wasn't awful. It wasn't like watching you don't want Don Rickles in your living room every night. It's fun to. Do you know who Don Rickles is? Super old reference, but. It ended up, I think, being like super, super corny, and it got killed by the focus groups, and it was painful. That was painful moment in my life.
Larry Dog asks, "Is it possible that Nate will return in the new You Don't Know Jack?"
I think I'm not in the new universe.
I feel like, didn't we do something? I feel like it hidden somewhere in there.
Oh, did you? I think you had me record
I don't remember if it was in the Facebook version or in this one. There's definitely, Nate is hidden in there as an Easter egg. But you kind of have to, it might even be like somewhere in a wrong answer response. So you really have to be a completist. You're going to have to dig through every answer to find it.
I like Don Rickles. Yay.
Yeah, Don Rickles is great.
Yeah, you hockey puck. Okay.
All right, let's see if I can find another good question from earlier.
Will the new game have trash talking with Milan?
Trash talking with Milan. I weirdly like that. Those were like grammar questions, right? With the janitor.
it was, that's with my old boss.
Oh, was it?
With Milan, wasn't it Igor?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Igor. That's a long time ago.
Steve-O96 says, I think that's Steve-O, the actual current editor of You Don't Know Jack. 2 You Don't Know Jack writers went on to Colbert Report, Allison Silverman and Mike Brum. Allison became executive producer of the show before leaving not too long ago. Mike still writes for it. Yeah, that's true. So a lot of people have gone on to great things, and some of us are just still here.
Unfortunately.
Some of us are just still here.
We're still here. But we're happy.
Yeah, and excited about, let's do this. We're closing in on an hour. I'm not necessarily in any hurry for us to be done. We can answer more questions and stuff. But let's make some announcements of some stuff that's coming up.
Let's do that.
There's a You Don't Know Jack coming out. We've already announced that. It's called You Don't Know Jack 2015. So that gives you a hint as to when it's coming out.
Well, actually, not really.
Not really, because originally it was going to be called You Know Jack 2015 because it would be funny that it was not 2015 yet.
But it's
less funny in the opposite direction. It starts to seem sad if You Know Jack 2015 comes out in 2017. It's funny if it comes out in 2013 or 2014.
See, that would be funny. 2014 is just like you're like a car company.
Yeah.
Right.
It's coming out. It's hopefully coming out this year. And as many of you know, we have a bunch of other great games. Fibbage, Drawful, Wordspud that we've been showing on the Twitch stream. You should come back every week to see us play those games. And you guys can play those games with us. But let me make sure I get
I'm just going to say right now, I actually think that there's at least a couple of games on the new Jackbox Party Pack 2015 that's coming out that I think are better party games than You Don't Know Jack. And You Don't Know Jack,
I agree.
in my heart, but it's like these games actually are
only 4 people can play.
Yeah.
Right.
And Harry kind of already said the name, but let's watch the trailer for what's coming up. And let's just watch this.
Oh no! You've tried other party games, but they're just so hard to control. Now, the makers of the hit trivia party game You Don't Know Jack introduce the Jackbox Party Pack. The Jackbox Party Pack has not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 6, but 5 unique and hilarious party games for one crazy low price. Order today and you'll get the Trivia Riot You Don't Know Jack 2015 with hundreds of hilariously twisted trivia questions. And the BS slinging Fibbage XL. But that's not all. You'll also receive the hilariously bizarre drawing game Drawful. The racy as you want to be word game Word Spud. And the wacky fact-filled Lie Swatter. All for one ridiculously low price. Most video party games can cost you $30, $40, $50, even $75 for one game. And you just never have enough controllers for everyone to play. Well, with the Jackbox Party Pack, you can play all 5 games using your phones and tablets as controllers. So don't waste time with those other party games. Get the Jackbox Party Pack now and be the toast of game night. Order your Jackbox Party Pack today.
And when we say today, we mean soon.
Really soon.
Really soon. So all the games are going to be packaged together for one low price, and they're coming out really soon. And we're excited for you to play all of them, including an all-new You Don't Know Jack with a bunch of more content, more fibbage, and fibbage, Drawful, Word Spud, Lie Swatter. Yeah, it's just exciting. I guess I don't have much more to say about it.
Yeah, it is. It's really and this this idea of playing with your phone and everybody's taking out their phone and going to the URL and playing. I mean, obviously we've been able to play test the games for a while, and I mean, I've laughed harder playing games like Fibbage and Drawful than I have playing practically any game in a long time, because you're just like you're sharing this like great time with your friends, and and yes, alcohol helps. And so when I play with my kids, my 7 and 10-year-old, I'll like hear kids have a beer, a little bit better time.
It's true.
But these are really great games, and we're super, super excited. So please help us spread the word. Yes,
I'm just sort of looking at some of the questions in the stream. Will Acrophobia come back in some form? I love that game.
I love Acrophobia, but it's a Berkeley Systems well, it's not their property, but somebody else came up with it.
You know how to piss off the Jackbox staff? Mention Acrophobia and insist they re-release the game.
Yeah, although Word Spud is somewhat Acrophobia-esque, vaguely.
It's kind of ish, but I would say it's like user-generated content.
Yeah.
From scratch.
Yeah, exactly.
We have some words to start off with.
Will Fibbage be considered separate from Fibbage XL in terms of trophies or as an expansion?
Jackbox Party Pack in itself will be considered separate from Fibbage. So, given that it's a whole separate product, you'll have different trophies and stuff like that within it.
Yeah. So if you're a trophy hunter, you have a lot more trophies to get.
But you'll have to play all the games of the pack.
Yes, which you'll want to do. Coriantado asks, when are you guys going to release Half-Life 3?
That's in Q2 of next year.
It's going to be hilarious.
Danny Boy the Zombie, who I think we know, who is one of the researchers for Lie Swatter, asks, any plans to bring You Don't Know Me back to life as well? What is
Oh my God.
You Don't Know Me?
Well, yeah. Harry and I know
the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, Harry and I know what You Don't Know Me is. And You Don't Know Me is like one of those, it's like a car that we have out on the lawn that we like rummage for parts. We take things out of it and we put them into new games. So
it was a prototype game that we developed that we loved but never released and had a lot of really interesting gameplay features. So that's what Alex was talking about rummaging.
It was more than just a prototype. It was actually we took it to beta.
Here's an interesting question. I remember Peak B says, I remember receiving a phone call between You Don't Know Jack maybe 2 and 3 and answering survey questions about You Don't Know Jack hosts, asking which I liked better. I chose Nate. I didn't get my way, but I've grown to love Cookie.
That had to have been Berkeley Systems marketing department. Which is like, what's hilarious about that is it's not as if anybody at Berkeley had any say in the matter. Like, we totally decided who the hosts were, but we would not have conducted a survey. But you know what we might have done? If the Nate Shapiro voice was on there, that would have been Berkeley Systems. It's possible that when we were trying to find a host for 3, and it was not totally set that it was going to be Tom. I think we tried some new people. Maybe that was.
So who was the host of 2?
Peter Spector.
Peter Spector.
Who's a Chicago area actor.
Yeah.
But then we went on to Tom
right.
as Cookie in 3, and there was kind of no turning back. But then, Schmitty,
Phil
Rittarelli, and Andy Poland, who was not just a host, but played many, many, many voices on the game and did the music.
AdCool2000 asks, anything special about the new You Don't Know Jack, or just new questions and segues?
Play with your phone.
Play with your phone. New content. There are some new question types. Some old favorite question types. There is, I won't say exactly what it is, but there is a Facebook You Don't Know Jack question type that is wildly popular, and the spiritual successor to that is in the new game. Mm-hmm. There's a question type in You Don't Know Jack 2011 that was wildly popular among very few people and hated by a lot of people. That's back.
There'll be a tabletop version of the new party pack from Tiger Electronics. I love the people who are in our.
I know they know more stuff than I do. Frankly.
Yeah, there was a tabletop game that you put batteries into, and it had a stack of cards.
I think we have one.
Yeah, we've got one here. And
we haven't fired it up in probably 10 years.
I met somebody who's like, oh my god, I loved You Don't Know Jack. It's like, yeah, we used to play around the kitchen table with them. I'm like, that's so crazy. You brought the computer to the kitchen table. I'm like, no. Like, they never heard of the video game. They only played the card game. And I'm like, oh my god.
And they're like, you know what? I love Star Wars. The movie? No, the novelization of the movie Star Wars. I just loved reading it. Let's see here. I'm pissed about a question. Pissed about a question was great.
Who's the dummy?
Who's the dummy?
That's one of my favorites.
Who's the dummy is something that really amuses us a lot.
Tom getting to really stretch his.
Dilly O'Brien is, I don't know, every time we'd hear Dilly's voice, we'd laugh.
What is one of your favorite moments from recording the original Ydkj? So, one of my favorite moments, I don't know if it's one of my favorite moments, but it was like a real, it was really coming down to the wire, and like I had not finished doing the recording because I'm running around directing. I was literally directing during the day, and then going into this little booth now at Berkeley Systems at night. So I was almost not sleeping at all. Uh-huh. And so it was probably like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like drinking caffeinated soda and anything I could to stay awake. And I was recording, and then I was just like reading these questions, and the questions were just so funny. And I was laughing my head off, between takes by myself in an otherwise like largely empty building. Right. Probably a few engineers up there like burning away. And my appreciation for the writing staff that was creating the stuff that was cracking me up was just, I was like bursting with kind of pride at the work of the team that was putting this material together. Yeah. And so appreciative that like, even though like I was really like practically like, in some kind of like alternate states, that they were like bringing me so much joy just getting to read the questions. So that's definitely one of my favorite moments. Three-way question offended my parents when I was a kid. That was intended, so that's awesome. Well, I have to go, but super excited for the party pack. Bye, Jackbox. Bye.
Bye. We should probably go.
Yeah, we should probably go. How about we do this? First, I'm going to encourage people to come back next week. Every Friday, we're here at 2. Harry will probably come back sometime soon.
Maybe. I mean,
yeah, we'll see. We're going to probably have We're definitely going to have Cookie on soon, possibly next Friday, but
live?
Definitely soon. Probably via Skype.
Boo.
But maybe next time he's in town.
Yeah.
We'll have him on. We're probably going to get Phil.
With a paper bag over his head.
Yeah, we're still trying to get Phil in here. He definitely wants to do it sometime soon. He's the voice of Schmitty, the voice of the wrong answer of the game announcer in You Don't Know Jack 2011 and 2015, which has wrong answers of the game, which is one of my favorite things about the modern era of You Don't Know Jack. He's also the voice in Lie Swatter. We're definitely going to have him in here.
Yep.
And how about Andy?
We definitely want to have Andy, who does all the sound effects and music, and some of the voices.
He can always Skype in.
We'll have him Skype in.
No, we'll have him come here.
Yeah, we have to have some excuse to get him to come.
I'm looking at him. He's like on a video screen over there.
Yeah.
I'm like, he'll come to Chicago because I can't get him to come to Chicago.
Someone's saying they're not going to tell, just like the release date and the price. The release date is seriously soon. Like, we don't know definitively because the process sometimes
we're still in
things can change.
It's like pretty close.
Yeah, so everything goes well. Literally, possibly this month, early next month. It's going to be real soon, and the price is going to be incredibly reasonable, even just for You Don't Know Jack, but crazy reasonable for all the games you're going to be getting.
He's selling it.
I really am.
Yeah,
I'm really going into infomercial.
And and also like for the hour, you consider the price of what this Jackbox Party Pack is, and the hours and hours of entertainment you're going to get interacting with your friends. You can go to a movie and sit there in the dark, not talking to each other, or get our game.
People are going to figure that out.
It's
yeah. All right.
Somebody says like, when's the ride to?
We actually talked about that recently.
Never.
I suggested it, and everyone was like, "No."
No. It was like so hard.
I think the ride is maybe one of the best.
The ride is my favorite as a fan. That was before I was here, and I absolutely loved the ride. And I know that the process of making it killed everyone that was doing
everybody.
it.
I didn't even work on the ride, and I was kind of jealous because it was so beautifully done.
And we're definitely. I kind of want to make. I don't know if we'll go through them chronologically. And not every week. Like next week, we're not doing You Don't Know Jack Volume 2, but in a couple weeks, maybe we'll do You Don't Know Jack Volume 2. I do eventually want to have you come back and get a bunch of people back and do a Twitch stream of the ride because it's so awesome.
Okay.
And I also want to do a Twitch stream of You Don't Know Jack Sports.
Totally. Forrest selling.
Maybe one of the least loved of all the You Don't Know Jack games.
It was
the one that has charm.
The graphics and the sound effects in that were fantastic.
Yeah.
Any last questions that we love before I go back to the trailer and then we turn everything off?
Harry, thank you so much for creating Ydkj. This game was the inspiration for me getting into game shows. Wow. So thank you.
That's Stad. Hey, Stad.
Hey, Stad. Stad's always around. Stad knows a crazy amount about us.
Thank you for saying that. That's so nice of you. I'm thrilled that our game was the inspiration for you getting into game shows. So thank you.
All right, check us out on Facebook at You Don't Know Jack. Check us out on Twitter at Jackbox Games, at Fibbage, at You Don't Know Jack. We have a lot of Twitter accounts.
Yeah.
You can follow me at Mr. Arnie, MisterArnie. You can follow you at Harry Gottlieb 1.
Harry Gottlieb 1. Because someone's got Harry Gottlieb.
And Allard, you're at _Allard, is that correct?
I'm at _Allard on Twitter, and I'm more active on Instagram as just Allard.
All right. Now, thanks for stopping by, everybody. Let's watch that trailer one last time, and we'll see everybody next week. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye.
I think I got to start it over.
Oh no! You've tried other party games, but they're just so hard to control. Now, the makers of the hit trivia party game You Don't Know Jack introduce the Jackbox Party Pack. The Jackbox Party Pack has not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 6, but 5 unique and hilarious party games for one crazy low price. Order today and you'll get the Trivia Riot You Don't Know Jack 2015 with hundreds of hilariously twisted trivia questions. And the BS slinging Fibbage XL. But that's not all. You'll also receive the hilariously bizarre drawing game Drawful. The racy as you want to be word game Word Spud. And the wacky fact-filled Lie Swatter. All for one ridiculously low price. Most video party games can cost you $30, $40, $50, even $75 for one game. And you just never have enough controllers for everyone to play. Well, with the Jackbox Party Pack, you can play all 5 games using your phones and tablets as controllers. So don't waste time with those other party games. Get the Jackbox Party Pack now and be the toast of game night. Order your Jackbox Party Pack today.